Hello everyone, we are here to continue our story, Who Was Stan Lee, and we are on chapter 7, titled Spider-Man. Even with the company's new name and newfound success, Stan had trouble explaining his latest ideas to Mr. Goodman. Who would be interested in a skinny teenager who could stick to ceilings like a fly? Spider-Man? Didn't Stan realize that people hated spiders? Stan said that he had came up with the idea for Spider-Man after watching a fly climb up a wall. How about a superhero who could stick to things? Stan struggled to come up with a good name. Flyman or Insect Man didn't sound right. Then Stan thought of Spider-Man. That could work. He originally wanted to ask artist Jack Kirby to draw the new character, but decided that Jack's drawings were not right. Jack made Spider-Man look too heroic, too powerful. Spider-Man was really Peter Parker, a geeky teenager who was unsure of himself. He got pushed around in school by a football star named Flash Thompson. Then a radioactive spider bit Peter and gave him special powers. The shy boy could suddenly stick to walls and ceilings as if he had suction cups for hands. He was also super strong. To create this new superhero, Stan found an artistic partner in Steve Ditko. Steve himself was awkward and shy and didn't like to go to parties. He had no problem making Peter Parker different. He would not be giant, muscle-bounded hero, but when Peter transformed into Spider-Man, he was drawn like the classic superheroes, with a new look and costume designed by Steve. Spider-Man first appeared in a comic book in June of 1962. He was the perfect character for Stan's new approach, regular people who happen to become superheroes. The Marvel character would have flaws and problems, but ultimately they would devote themselves to fighting crime. Despite Mr. Goodman's doubts, the first comic book to feature Spider-Man was popular. In fact, Marvel's new group of superheroes sold 13 million comic books in 1962, nearly double the amount they sold the previous year. Stan had been a part of a golden age of comics in the 1940s. Now he was part creator of a silver age, which lasted roughly from 1956 to 1970. Comic fans sometimes refer to this popular return to superheroes and away from crime and romance stories as the Silver 60s and even the Marvel Age. Who said nobody likes spiders? Here is a little insert of some of the Marvel's biggest villains. Chapter 8, Movie Stardom for Marvel. With Marvel Comics now making so much money, Mr. Goodman decided it was time to sell. A man named Martin Ackerman bought the company in 1968, with one condition: Stan Lee had to remain in charge. Stan did. By now, Stan was the face of Marvel, while the artists tended to keep to themselves. Stan's outgoing nature made him a natural spokesman for the company. He spoke at colleges and conventions. He posted for magazines and newspapers. Stan also had developed his distinctive look. He grew an identifiable mustache and always wore sunglasses, even when he was inside. In 1972, when Mr. Goodman officially retired as publisher, Stan got a promotion. He became the publisher of Marvel. Roy Thomas, a writer who had been working on X-Men, became Marvel's editor. As publisher, Stan could focus on new ideas. Stan wanted the Marvel characters to branch out into television shows and movies. Television was easy. In 1977, The Incredible Hulk made its premiere on TV. Stan was not in charge of the show, but he did have an important role. The producers of The Incredible Hulk wanted the Hulk to be red, not green. Stan said no. The Hulk had to be green. The Incredible Hulk ran for more than 80 episodes over 5 years. Stan had a tougher time getting Marvel into the movies. For years, movie producers had refused to turn comic books into movies. They worried that it would be too difficult to show illustrated comic book action using real actors. In 1978, everything changed when the movie Superman came out. Actor Christopher Reeves played Superman. The movie earned $300 million worldwide, the sixth highest grossing film ever that time. Superman convinced Hollywood that superhero movies could work. Stan began to meet with Hollywood producers in 1980. He and Joni moved to Los Angeles. They bought a house in West Hollywood overlooking the Sunset Strip, the glamorous part of the city's full of stores, restaurants, and rock clubs. It was so exciting. Stan and Joni loved Hollywood. They made new friends in California. JC worked as a model and began painting. Her parents were thrilled to go to her first art show. As much as Stan loved California, he found it wasn't easy to get movies made. Producers argued. They sued each other. At one point, writers had written 8 different scripts for the movie version of Spider-Man. Nobody was satisfied. Director James Cameron wanted to make a Spider-Man movie, but it was taking too long. He made movies like Terminator and Titanic instead. In 1989, a movie about Marvel's characters, The Punisher, was filmed, but never released in movie theaters. Neither was the 1994's version of the Fantastic Four. The struggles in Hollywood caught Stan by surprise. Back in New York, Marvel Comics was also having problems. Ackerman had sold Marvel in 1986, and the new owners wanted to expand. The company tried to get too big too fast. They bought a baseball card company and a sticker company. Both lost money. Finally, in 1996, Marvel went bankrupt. The company was broke, but Stan never gave up. He knew the Marvel family of characters would someday find new fans on the big screen. He also knew that Marvel needed him. Everybody knew Stan Lee. To relaunch Marvel, the new owners came up with a plan. They created a department within Marvel that was devoted exclusively to making movies. They called it Marvel Studios. A man named Avi Arad was put in charge. Avi had grown up in Israel reading Spider-Man comic books translated into Hebrew. He was thrilled to have Stan giving him advice. With Avi in charge, Marvel finally decided to get films made. Blade came first in 1998, based on a superhero who hunted vampires. The movie starred Wesley Snipes and earned $131 million around the world. The first X-Men movie came out in 2000 was even bigger. Critics loved it, and crowds flocked into theaters. X-Men earned $200 million. The film also featured Stan's first appearance in the Marvel film. He played a hot dog salesman. 2 years later, Spider-Man was released. The movie starred Tobey Maguire as Peter Parker. William Dafoe as Green Goblin and Kristen Dunst as Mary Jane Watson. It was a worldwide hit, earning $822 million. After 20 years in Hollywood, Stan was finally seeing his dream for Marvel come true. Here's another insert on Stan Lee's movie roles. Stan loved Spider-Man, but Marvel's biggest movie success was still to come. Iron Man came out in 2008 with Robert Downey Jr. starring as a billionaire adventurer, Tony Stark. Stan thought Robert Downey Jr. was born to play Stark. The actor was perfect for the role. Iron Man was a smash. It led to 2 sequels. In 2013, Iron Man 3 earned $1.2 billion around the world, making it the 5th highest grossing film at the time. Black Panther broke many box office records in 2018 and went on to become the highest grossing film by a black director, Ryan Coogler. And later that same year, Avengers Infinity War smashed all expectations to become the very first superhero movie to earn $2 billion worldwide. I think Marvel will end up being the biggest company in showbiz, Stan said in an interview. And that is the end of chapter 8. Thanks for listening.